Hey there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this. First, my name is Rachel Feldman. If you do not know, I became a health coach back in 2010. I built my business with no virtual assistant, no team, no Facebook ads because I didn't have the money for that. My kids were little. I had very, very little time. And so very quickly, I had to learn how to build my business. Made a lot of mistakes, but I also did a lot of things right. And the biggest thing that I know to this day is that I really mastered how to speak to my ideal client. The second thing that I know that I mastered is diving into what we call this ideal client avatar, ICA. And what that means is really the life of your ideal client. You have your niche, and you will see right in the description. Please download this niche handout. It's 15 pages. There's a lot of explaining about the different elements. But for today's training, I want to dive into ideal client avatar. So always remember, niches first. I work, I specialize in, that's your niche, getting clear on the message, which in turn for you, whether you're a new coach or you are in a growth phase, this is essential for Facebook ads, Instagram ads, your pitches, and your content strategy, because I think a lot of people struggle in creating content because they feel exhausted doing it. It's not working. All of the problems that we all have as wellness entrepreneurs. But it becomes easier when we do this. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. We're going to start with ideal client. Why is this really important? You have to know your customer. You have to know their pain. So please write this down. Their pain, their desire, their pleasure. And you also have to know their wake-up problem, because their pain doesn't always equate to that big wake-up problem that they have, which really is the reason. It's the essential factor in creating content that converts, whether it's social media, opt-in freebies in different formats, audio, video, blogs, challenges, workshops. And because if you're not speaking to your ideal client, then most often you might find that you have people that opt in, but they don't convert. So when we really speak to our ideal client and we step into their shoes, their lives, this is when we call creating our ideal client avatar. But what we're going to talk about today in this training is just 2 simple steps. So I'm going to go through the questions. What does your customer want? What does your ideal? What are their goals? Their pain points? What do they want to achieve? How often have you even done a survey and it says, what's going on in your life right now? And if you were able to change this, what would your ideal situation be? It's just ways to get really clear on, what that person wants to actually achieve, which really means what is their motivation to opt in, to buy. So these can also be used in market research and in polls. So what are your goals? What are the struggles that you're having right now? If you were to have a magic wand, how can you change them? But to keep it really simple, because I know it can be overwhelming, just ask yourself, what are their values? What do they stand for? Who are the people that they admire and they follow? Do they love Oprah, or do they love Alejandra Younger? Do they love, their favorite person on CNN? Do they love somebody on the Today Show? Really get clear on who they follow, because why they admire that person is a lot of their why, their morals, and their values. And most often we're going to attract a person who has kind of a similar vibe as well. And that's why it's really key to understand what your person stands for, the change that they desire in the world, because you, as the expert, the leader, the influencer, your values, your why, what drives you is really going to be what attracts them. So what does your client do? Where does your client hang out? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Do they like meetups? Do they like Zoom? What does their life look like? Are they a 9-to-5er? Are they a high sales CEO, big decision person? Are they a 9-to-5er and also a mom, and have a family? What age are their kids? What is their home life like? And for those of you who have never coached or you don't have clients, I guarantee you, and this is my pro tip and trick, think of 10 of your friends or family members, people in your life. Think about their different personalities. So 10 friends that all would fit within your niche, whether it's gut or it's sugar, emotional eating, mindset, autoimmune. And then think about their different lives and how their choices and what they need and what they desire is going to be different based on their habits, their life, and the kind of person that they are. That's the buyer personality. And the buyer personality is part of this ideal client. You can make it really simple. Don't overcomplicate. This is where you get to be extremely creative. And for example, let's just call this woman Mary. We're going to answer with Mary so that you know exactly what action step to take after you see just these two and how to go further with it. What does Mary do on a Friday, Saturday afternoon, or Monday morning? Does she like to go out? Is she more of a homebody? Does she go to the gym, or does she love home workouts? Is she the kind of person that loves to cook, or does she love just taking out? And when you really play out her life and give her a name, then you can start to test these different avatars in your messaging, so that you see the people that you put out your freebie, and then you get to see who actually engages with you, because that's in the testing of your messages. And so that you can start to craft content around the pain, the problem, and then speak to each one of these different people. And it doesn't mean you're speaking to everyone. It means that Mary is a 9-to-5er. So you work with women that are 9-to-5ers working corporate. Well, Mary, who is retired, Mary, who is in her 60s, is going to be a little different than Jane in her 50s. It's going to be a little different from maybe Elizabeth, who is 46. So you might be working with people in between the ages, their 40s, 50s, and 60s. The beautiful thing about when you get crystal clear on your ideal client is thinking about each one of those 3 different women, all 9-to-5ers, all exhausted, but they all have different problems because of their age, because of their personality. Is she introverted? Is she extroverted? Does she appear like everything's perfect, but she's panicking inside? And those are just a few examples of how we can get into the excitement of crafting our messages around one freebie that serves women who are 9-to-5 who feel stressed. That could be a freebie or a workshop or content piece. Maybe it's weight. it's weight loss, that, they're really struggling because there's so much stress. They're stress eating. And start to think about the problems, and how you can convey that problem to this person who is desperately, desperately looking for a mini solution, for life, for how complicated it is. So always think, where do they live? How old are they? Because like we said, when we do our niche, the second step is we get clear on that pitch. I work with, women between the ages of 40 and 60 who are struggling with 1, 2, 3, so they can achieve ABC. And then the next is I help women go from blank to blank and just get really comfortable in that very simple process. Niche, your pitch, it's really that elevator pitch. And then so you can get into this, the ideal client, and really speaking their love language, meaning speaking to them exactly in not only their pain and their pleasure, what they want, what they desire, but also speaking to them in some of the problems that they experience in their day, because that's truly where our ideal client gets stuck. It's in the specifics of thinking and playing out this person's life. What is Mary's life like in 9 to 5? What time does she get up to go to work? Does she grab breakfast and, eat in the car? Does she find herself not packing lunch for herself? Does she find herself, stacking on Snickers at, 3 in the office? What does Mary need to hear from you? And so in the 2 simple steps, write down the pain points and the issue about your client. The second is, what does she really need? So I'm going to give you an example just right off of this. We talked about those 3 women. They're all even in the same office, but Mary is a high-powered CEO. She's 9 to 5. Jane could be, a secretary at the desk. She's got a host of problems. And the email comes in from her that she messed up on. She feels shame. She feels guilt. How does she handle that? Does she say, oh, let me breathe. Let me walk away. It's not my fault. Or does she go into guilt? Does she shame herself? Does she say, oh my God, what if I mess up? Am I going to get fired? What are her big fears? Too often we think that the pain is just the glaring one. Oh, well, it's weight, and of course, maybe for her, maybe for Mary, it is weight. But does it Mary or Jane or Elizabeth, who are all busy, do they all need the same opt-in freebie? The answer is yes, they can all get the same opt-in freebie because they're still in your niche. They're just in different situations in 9 to 5. But what does she really need? So let me stop sharing for a second and just dive into the last part of this. In my experience of coaching thousands of people, from groups that I did at gyms, online, offline, one-on-one, I found that most people would come to me and say, it's, my autoimmune's really bad. My gut is so bad. My doctor told me I have IBS. I'm so worried. I'm so scared. I have no time to cook. I have no time for anything. I don't even have time to pee during the day. So you're telling me that you want me to meditate in the morning for 30 minutes and you want me to take time for myself? She replies, I can't do this. I don't even have time to like breathe. I've got kids at home. I come home from work, I'm making dinner. I just feel fried. Mary, tell me tell me, tell me what's happening when you feel fried. We've talked about a lot of things, your gut, your autoimmune, the IBS. Oh, no, wait, but I didn't tell you, Rachel. I also have these like major headaches. They're debilitating. It's crazy. I have to take, Advil and Motrin. All right. So we've got all this stuff going on. And man, I know because I experienced all that, the headaches, the mom overwhelmed, the being an entrepreneur, and also taking care of my kids and making food. And then just feeling like I was on the verge of tears if one more thing came into my life, or if anyone would say to me, which they always did, meditate for 30 minutes, go breathe, go this. Well, that's why I'm a different coach, because when you and I work together, I'm not going to give you extra things like batch cooking on this one day. I'm not going to give you, go breathe for 30 minutes, do this one technique, because I know you're like me. You're stressed already. And the thought of adding one more thing to your plate is literally the thing that could break you. And that's why I find that a lot of people who come to me have had horrific experiences with practitioners because they don't listen. Doesn't mean that they're not great practitioners. It's that my job is to come into your 24 hours and to help you figure out where to add these elements so that we actually create a personalized 24-hour roadmap. And so this is what I'm going to suggest, is that one, we learn in this time how to actually handle, dancing in the midst of the storm. How do I actually handle when everything feels too much, when we feel overwhelmed, when we have perfectionist personalities, when we feel that, either we're not enough or we're not doing enough, or we've got mom guilt, just all the things that come with being a woman in today's world. So that's the part that we're going to stress, that we're going to address. The second is, you talked a lot about feeling overwhelmed, like you get so overwhelmed that you can't breathe. What happens when you do that? Oh, well, I mean, I'm fine. I put the kids to bed, and then, after bed, I feel like I can't even take a breath. And so I sit in front of the TV and I find myself just like eating a whole thing of ice cream. How do you feel after that? I hate myself. I can't believe I did that. I feel like, you know all of this. You're so good in your business. You're such a great mom. Why would you go overeat? Not to binge eat. Yeah, I watched my mom have weight issues my whole life, and I didn't want to be like her. So I just would always feel like I needed to be on a diet because she had a lot of health problems, and I'm so scared that I'm going to end up like my mom. And I'm the financial supporter for my kids. And so I'm scared that I'm not going to be for my kids, be there. So why don't we do this? Why don't we focus on what feels the most glaring right now? Do you feel like the binge eating at night is really hard? Well, yeah, I mean, I'm binge eating, and then I feel so disgusted with myself that I don't want to be intimate with my partner. That's just been going on. I'm also so stressed, and my relationship is getting screwed up. I feel I don't even know what to do. All right, let's do this. Let's start just with one step, like one step of just focusing on the eating. But we're not going to focus on what is the best swap. We're going to actually focus on When did things get so jacked earlier that you started shoving them down? Shoving them down, denying, not listening to your body cues, nothing during the day, so that by the time you got to night, you felt like you were choking. And then we're just going to stay at that place, because I know that as a woman, I've dealt with stress eating, this diet mentality, relationship stuff, intimacy, kids' health, the fear of getting into a disease state. I hear everything. And I know that feeling of waking up in the middle of the night and being choked by that fear. Fear that, what if something's going to happen to me? Do I have everything in order? Because I struggled with that A-type personality for so long in my life, my whole life. That fear, and that fear just pushed my stress levels, my cortisol levels, my sugars. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, my sugars are off. So what we're going to do is, with everything that you just said, and I totally get it, we're going to start with this one step that is like, how do we rewire the brain for this like massive crush everything 10x in your life, same way you crush it at work? Then we're going to do some very, very simple steps so that we can support your body so that you don't react to stress in the same way. And what I can guarantee you, because I've been through this myself, is that nothing happens extremely fast. We don't rewire our brain, right away. Nothing's a magic bullet. But what I can tell you is I'm going to provide very simple roadmaps, and you and I are going to work together to find and to tweak it so that you're going to straight up fire me. Because that is my goal. In this world where there's so much information, every person who came to me said, I'm just so overwhelmed with my life that all these people tell me, oh, batch cook, do this, meditate. And I know that that's made you feel like you're gonna, like you can't commit, because when it's all of those things added to your already psycho busy day, it's impossible. So we're going to compartmentalize your roadmap just like you do at work, and help you to get to the place that you so desperately deserve. Okay, guys, that was a little longer than I anticipated. I wanted to show you how discovery calls flow. In just hearing that, because that's, that's so many different people said every one of those issues. And I know many of you get stuck there because you feel like you're messaging to everyone. You're not. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. It's really great to do that 2-step exercise, and then to get a buddy on the phone, get a friend on the phone. You can do it on Zoom if you want to record. Ask people these questions. People, of course, that are in your niche, that you believe are your ideal client. Because the truth is, many of us are marketing to this one person. And digital marketing, the beauty of it is that you're speaking these multiple messages based on human conversations, human interaction. So write down the 10 pain points. Write down exactly what that person desires, but what they actually need. Because I see many of you who are promoting offers, freebies, signature programs, courses. You've created your whole business around that, but you're not converting. It's not you. It's the fact that it's not what they actually need. So remember, when we create our content and we really dive deep into the nitty-gritty, we give people what they want and we lead them down the path that they actually need. And we only know that by doing this step first. We're going to talk about market research and how to kind of get people on the phone. But you will see from that one discovery call, that one human interaction in the questions, you get a lot of answers. For those of you who rock IG, you can do it in an IG poll. You will get so much data. You can do it on a job forum survey. You will get so much data. You can also just call your friends, people you know, or go into groups and say, I'm looking for 5 people who have struggled with these issues. I would love to, get on the phone with you. In exchange, I will give you a free gift. And that is how simple it is. Those basics, no matter whether you are a new coach or you're in a growth, it's the same process. You have to survey. Your ideal client will change as you change, as you get older. And people will also come into your funnel and they will leave. And so it's always great to have a tap on market research so that you are always creating epic content that actually converts, and not just what, the social media content calendar or the content that you've bought. Crafting your message so that you always make the money you deserve and change lives. All right, guys, I got to go. See you later. Bye, guys.